Hello, everyone, and welcome to Atlantic Business Magazine's Take 5 with the Top 50 video series. I'm Paul Fudge, and I'm a partner in New Brunswick with Top 50 CEO presenting sponsor Grant Thornton. Joining me today is five-time Top 50 CEO and Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Ken Shea, President and CEO of East Coast Credit Union Limited. As President and CEO of East Coast Credit Union, Ken has grown assets under management 273%, from just over 300 million to over 850 million since 2011. During that time, East Coast Credit Union has been recognized with a number of awards, including being named Top Atlantic and Nova Scotia Employer, national awards for sustainability and community economic development, and regional recognition for cooperative social responsibility. Ken, congratulations on being a five-time winner and a Hall of Fame inductee. Ken, you've worked in the financial services industry since 1989, starting with Bank of Montreal and moving to the credit union system in 2004. What are some of the changes you've seen during that time, and what would you say those changes have meant for your customer?
Well, Paul, there's been quite a few changes that have happened over the last 20 or 30 years. And I think the biggest one probably is the computer and the impact it's had on our industry. Technology in general, I think, has had a major impact. I just think back to when I first started with the bank. We did a lot of things on computer, but it was very DOS based, and it was like a very different environment. And it was, basically an IBM. You typed in, and it would type out the information. And today, so much that we do is able to be accomplished by members and customers using cell phones. You can take a picture of a check and deposit your check without even ever having to visit a branch. When in the old days, when we first started, you had to go to the bank or the credit union in order to do those transactions. So I think that that's allowed people to have a different kind of relationship with maybe their financial institution, has allowed them to be able to be more able to seek advice and spend more time on the things that are really important, their financial goals, and making sure that they have the right products and services to help them as they manage through their financial life.
Ken, one of the things people might not know about you is you contribute to a financial literacy radio show called Money Matters. What are some of the most common issues that come up on the program, and what's your response to those questions?
Well, it's interesting. Money Matters has been going for about 5 years now, and it is a show. Really, when I first was asked, I was quite excited about the concept because it gave me an opportunity to really improve, I think, financial literacy for more people than I probably would have had an opportunity to do so for just in my normal day-to-day work. Because of the show, where we do take phone calls from people about their financial issues and often discuss things that are things that maybe other people are having issues or concerns with, whether it be understanding their credit, understanding the importance of financial planning. A lot of times people are uncomfortable asking questions about financial products and services because they feel intimidated because there are so many products and services out there. So it's really trying to simplify, I think, things for people, helping them understand the various products and services. It's very much about education and teaching, and less about the actual product selling kind of concept. And when we do take calls, a lot of them are, like I say, around things that are related to how the products can work best for me as an individual, or how products work in general, because sometimes people aren't sure of how an RESP or an RRSP works, or what a TFSA does that's different than an RSP. So it's trying to break down those acronyms to help people learn the various ways they can use those tools in their financial plan. And I think the big thing that people sometimes don't think about when they're thinking about financial planning is that failing to plan is, as Winston Churchill says, planning to fail. you have to make sure that you do have a plan, that you've talked about those things with your spouse or your significant other, that you've looked at your budget, for instance, you have an understanding of your financial position, and you're able to make the right decisions. And I think the best way to do that is through education and understanding. And so that's why I thought the radio show was a great opportunity for me to help people as they kind of maneuver through their financial life.
Credit unions are known for putting people first, and definitely that's what your credit union has done. But it's still a business, and there are some difficult decisions to make, and that have been made. We understand one of the most difficult decisions for you was closing a branch in a small community. How did you deal with that situation?
Well, as you know, a credit union is a business and we are regulated, and we do have to have certain returns in order to maintain, I guess, and grow our business. And we have to maintain certain capital ratios, et cetera. So sometimes that does cause us to have to look at our operations and the things that we do to make sure that we're doing things in an efficient and effective manner. When we did have to look at our operations in some of our branches, we certainly didn't take the decision to close lightly. We did a lot of work around what the options were. Were there ways we could fix or change and still maintain a physical presence, for instance, in some of those locations? What we did also is we consulted with the broader community. We did have a meeting. We tried to explain the situation and the situation with the branch, and the fact that it was very difficult to manage the cost with the volume of business. And it was especially hard because of the fact that as interest rates have fallen, margins change, and obviously it makes it sometimes tougher to make the same amount of profit or to break even on various business lines. After those conversations, we took some time. We talked about maybe some of the options that the community could use, and then we took some time to consider how we would go about this. We made sure we provided lots of notice to the community. We also did meet with them after and looked at some alternatives for service. Our team engaged very much with our members and talked to them about the alternatives of how they could get service when they didn't have that physical location. So trying to take advantage of the electronic banking options that were available to them, the being able to deposit their check by taking a picture with their phone, training them and helping them be educated on how to do those things before the change took place so that they were better prepared. And what we found by doing that and engaging with the community, although not all the answers were the ones that they wanted to hear, we were able to maintain a really good community relationship and continue to serve those members today. And they're very dedicated members of East Coast Credit Union and continue to use us for a lot of their services because we're still able to help them by using those other alternative means. I think the pandemic that we're also going through right now has caused a lot more focus around some of those electronic and digital means of doing banking. And I think that we're going to see more of that as time goes on. There'll be more change in our industry and more opportunities, I think, for our members to interact without having to have that physical visit. We did a lot of things electronically, including signing documents, doing new accounts, all those things. Without actually having to have members physically present. And I think we're going to see more of that in the future.
The world of finance is increasingly global and technologically sophisticated. What are you doing with your credit union to keep it competitive?
Well, in order to keep our credit union competitive, obviously, I believe one of the most important things we can do is to invest in our people. Their learning and their ability to understand what's happening in the marketplace around us is essential to our future success. We also do a lot to monitor. We're involved in industry associations, the CCUA, which is the Canadian Credit Union Association, and a lot of their educational activities help us to kind of stay informed and ready for the changes that are coming in the industry. Belong to an organization called the Credit Union Executive Society, which is an international organization that does training and development and leadership training. And a number of our senior staff have been involved in training programs with them as well. And the idea with this is by being exposed to these various different learning avenues, we get an idea of what's coming in the industry, and hopefully we can be ready to react to that. We do a lot of monitoring, I guess, of what is happening in the global financial space. And that also helps us to try to make sure we have the products and services that are required to serve our members on an ongoing basis. I know myself, I've invested in a lot of education over the years. Obviously, completed my PFP. I've done recently. I've done a CEO Institute at several universities in the U.S., and that information and education helps me as I try to guide our team, because it does expose me to things that are happening in the industry and ways that we can develop. We believe that technology is a very important part of what we're doing, and we do very regular meetings around strategic planning and organizing ourselves from a digital perspective with creating a digital governance framework, etc. And those things all help us to try to make the best decisions we can in the interest of our members and in the future of the credit union.
Corporate social responsibility. How important is it to your leadership of East Coast Credit Union? Do you consider it an expense or an investment?
Well, corporate social responsibility is part of our DNA at East Coast Credit Union, and quite frankly, at most credit unions. We call it, starting to change our wording, our language around it, away from CSR or corporate social responsibility, and more to community impact. We believe that it is an investment. We've done a number of different projects over the years with various stakeholders in communities, and what we found is that those have benefited the community greatly and made the communities more sustainable. I think of a number of projects we've done with L'Arche, for instance, in Cape Breton, working with those folks and helping them as they try to help individuals with intellectual disabilities, and to make them give them the opportunity to work in an environment where they can feel like they're contributing. It's a very rewarding experience. I know that many of our staff that have been involved in L'Arche have been, just blown away by the experiences they've had. Another organization that we do work with as well is what's the name? We have a community center in Antigonish, the CACL, and that's the Canadian Association for Assisted Living. And we've done a lot of work with them as well. And that organization has been a fabulous partner. We actually have their center is named the East Coast Credit Union Social Center, Social Enterprise Center. And it's another great place and a great example of those partnerships and investing in the broader community, and how that can generate great opportunities both for the credit union but also for the community. We're very much about sustainability, and we've invested in our own reducing our own footprint, our carbon footprint, and so all the electricity that we use currently is produced by green energy. So it's done by solar and wind through a partnership with Bullfrog Power. So all of our branches and all of our ATM fleet are powered basically by green energy. So we're almost got a zero footprint because all the energy that we use is produced in a sustainable way. We believe that as community leaders that we're responsible to try to show and model that behavior, and that's why we take these things so very seriously and try hard to make sure that we're modeling the behavior through things like our green energy initiative. We also do a lot with many other community groups, and we have programs for enterprises that are community oriented, where we do no service charges and things like that. So all those programs are designed to help give back and give those community organizations an opportunity to put the money that they have to work and not have to worry about paying fees to manage it. And that's resulted, I think, in a lot of great activities within our credit union and within the communities that we serve. And we'll continue to focus in that area because we do believe it is an investment in their future.